Welcome grade 8 students. Okay, how are you? Fine. Please open www.cathomeschool.com. Click for the curriculum and then enter the password. Alright. Click the MAPEH because that will be our lesson for today. So are you ready? But before we start our lesson, I have this video here. Let's all watch this video.
A language in the world that everybody understands. It's called the universal language. Now, before you start naming a lot of languages that you might know, let me tell you that I'm talking about music. That's right, music happens to be the universal language of the world. Now, did you know that music in itself has many interesting types? Well, if you didn't, stay with me because I'm going to talk about that.
Subscribe and press the bell icon to receive notifications. Don't miss any new lessons.
Well, hello and welcome to today's lesson. And today's lesson is about a topic that's very close to my heart. That's right, it's about music. And I happen to be a true blue music lover. So in case you're a music lover too, what I have for you is going to be a treat because I am going to talk about the types of music. That's right, I have for you over here different types of music. Now some of these you may be aware of, some of these may be new for you. So let's go over them one by one so that your music vocabulary is actually up to the mark. So the first one I have for you is ambient music. Now what is ambient music? Now the word ambient actually stands for something that happens in the background. Now that's exactly how this music is too. Ambient music is music without sounds of voices or strong beats. So this music basically uses electronic voices, electronic sounds, but there are no vocals. So there's nobody who's actually singing. So there is no human voice in ambient music. Mostly it's electronic sounds, and these sounds are not, full of strong beats. They're fairly easygoing and very easy to listen to. So ambient music is basically music that you might find playing in an elevator, in the reception of a particular office. Now this music does not ask for your attention. It does not grab your attention. It just plays in the background, and that's why it's called ambient music. So the next time you're visiting somebody for a meeting or waiting for somebody at the reception of a hotel or an office, you could actually notice the music playing. And trust me, it won't have vocals, it won't have strong beats. It'll just be like there in the background, and it'll actually be a very pleasing sound. So that's all about ambient music for you. And the next one, country music. Now this type of music I particularly enjoy. Now country music actually is the traditional music from southern USA. So country music is actually basically the traditional music from the southern part of the USA. Over a period of years, it got the name country music because it was from the country, as in from the countryside, which is the interiors of the southern part of USA. Now country music is music that will definitely have vocals. It's full of guitars and violins, and it's very pleasing to the ear, very nice to listen to. At the same time, the lyrics, the words are very casual and very local. You won't find some deep, dark.
Grammarly does more than catch errors. With Grammarly, you can find really good, no, perfect words that make your writing sharp or
poetry, on which country music is composed. You'll actually find a lot of easygoing, local kind of lyrics in country music, and that is the beauty of it. It's simple, it's guitar based, so it's like I'm sitting in a social setting at a friend's place. I just pick up the guitar and I start humming a country song. That's how easy and casual it is. So well, that's all about country music for you, and country singers actually have a large following. A lot of people are huge fans of country singers. And moving on, I have for you gospel music. Now, gospel music is something that you may have heard, but you may not know that that's what is called gospel music. So gospel music is music developed for churches sung by groups of people. So it's very rare that you might hear gospel music being sung by one person. Mostly it's sung in groups, by groups, and it's all about music that's played in churches, so it might talk about, praising the Lord, or, the glory of Lord, or something, some kind of a fable or story related to the Lord. And it's sung in groups, and it's actually, meant to kind of uplift the spirit of the people who are visiting the churches. So it's very nice, very pleasing to the ear. In fact, it can bring a smile onto your face, or sometimes it can also make you slightly emotional if you are the devotional kinds. So that's all about gospel music for you. Moving on, I have something which is super popular, and that is rap. Now, rap is actually not music. It's actually a type of music that doesn't have any form of singing involved. Rap is actually about talking in a certain rhythm on a certain beat using a certain rhyme scheme, So people who are rappers, and we have so many famous rappers out there, so most of them are not singing. They're actually talking with a beat, with a rhythm, and using a certain rhyme scheme. So well, I don't really know how to rap, but I can say something like, here I have for you the types of music so that you can listen to me and get to know what kinds of music are out there, like rap. Okay, that has to be the world's worst rap act, but I guess you got the drift, didn't you? So rap music is actually words that are spoken in rhythm with a beat. So I'm sure if you just go on the internet and Google rap music, you will see so many interesting, talented rap artists who are called rappers, incidentally, and you can actually listen to the way they present their music. The lyrics can sometimes be a little controversial, a little obscene, but actually the whole art is fairly difficult, and I'm sure I have demonstrated that already by trying really hard to rap, but I don't think I got.
This was me right after I started my business. You see, starting my business, that
not anywhere with that. So that's all about rap music for you. And moving on, there is Latin music, another grand favorite of mine because I love dancing. So Latin music is actually music from Latin America. So it's their traditional music, and it also has music which is like, dance music. So well, if you like your dancing, especially all the salsas and sambas and, cha-cha-chas, trust me, that kind of music, the music that is used for these dances, is Latin American music. It's traditional music from Latin America, and it makes great dance music. So if you are doing a samba class, or if you're doing a cha-cha-cha class, or if you're doing a salsa class, all the music that gets used, in your classroom is definitely Latin American music. So Latin American music is very pleasing, very dancey, very groovy, gets you into the mood, and I love it personally. And moving on, we have background music. Background music, it kind of sounds very similar to ambient music because it plays in the background and it doesn't have any vocals. So background music is actually instrumental music. So ambient music could also be background music, but background music is not always ambient music. So background music could also be the background music of a play that you're watching, or the background music in a particular scene of a movie that you're watching. Now imagine somebody is getting murdered and suddenly there is this sort of eerie, scary, suspense-filled music. Yeah, that is background music for you. So you actually have people whose full-time professions are to compose background music. They're actually called background music composers. And it's a difficult art, and it adds a lot of value to your particular movie or your play or to the story that is being told. So that is all about background music for you. And moving on, we have world music. Now world music is a term that has come of age in the past 10 years, and a lot of people get very confused when it comes to world music. So world music can be described as music from different cultures, all over the world. So world music is not music that belongs to a particular region, culture or country. It's actually music from different cultures, different races and different countries from all over the world. So, you could be listening to a Turkish tune that, is playing, and then the next moment you're listening to something that comes from Latin America. All of this put together and mixed, mostly using certain different types of beats, actually comprises world music. And world music is actually, music that is for easy listening. You can actually listen to it in a car, or you could listen to it at a concert, or you could even play it to yourself when you're at home. So world music is not specific music that has to get played only at a party, only at a concert. It's very, very flexible in the way you can actually use it. So that's world music for you. And coming up, is fusion. Now yes, we've been listening to fusion for quite a while now. So fusion is actually mixing different styles of music. So you could actually use a techno or an electronic beat and, mix rap music on it or mix bhangra on it, and these two styles would actually fuse and make one particular kind of style, and that can be called as fusion music. Like the word fusion means, it actually means the union of two different things or two different kind of styles of music blending and becoming one. So that's what fusion is, and actually we actually live in an era of fusion where we have fusion music. We also have fusion food where Indian and Italian food are mixed to form a different fusion cuisine. So that's all about fusion music for you. And up next, the last one on my list, the last but not the least. Now this form of music is music that has led to a lot of struggle in the lives of many musicians. Now indie music actually stands for independent music. So there's a lot of struggling artists out there who don't get sponsored by labels and don't know how to make their music reach the people, because a musician is nobody without his audience. So it's very important that the music reaches a particular kind of audience, or at least the kind of audience that the music is meant for. So what these artists do is they produce independent music, which means music that they have written themselves, composed themselves, probably performed themselves, and music that has not been sponsored or backed up by any music label or any formal form of music release, So they could actually release their music through, online videos, or by performing concerts at small cafes and then moving on to performing independent concerts at different places. So indie music is definitely a struggle even today, but a lot of indie artists, that is independent artists, are actually very, very talented, and I would say that somewhere the core of really quality music lies in indie music. So that's all about the different types of music for you. I'm sure some of these were fairly new for you, and some you may have known about from before. So I hope you liked today's lesson, and in case you want to talk about more types of music,
You might think there was a simple answer to this. After all, we know how to say what most things are for, like this or that. And people flock to museums like never before, so they must have their motives. But when it comes to art, people get strangely afraid to ask too directly what it might all be for. Because, well, everyone except you might know the answer already. It's perhaps too obvious, it's perhaps too complicated. The result is an awkward silence and a lot of confusion. But maybe it shouldn't be that hard to say what art is for. Maybe we can have a go at describing certain rather clear purposes to art. Here's 5 things that art might be able to do for us. It's an obvious but striking fact that the most popular works of art in the world show pretty things. Happy people, flowers in spring, blue skies. This is the top-selling postcard in the world from the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. This enthusiasm for prettiness worries serious types a lot. They wonder, have people forgotten what life's really like? But that seems a misplaced worry. We need pretty things close to us, not because we're in danger of forgetting the bad stuff, but because terrible problems weigh so heavily on us that we're in danger of slipping into despair and depression. That's why prettiness matters. It's an emblem of hope, which is an achievement. Prettiness, those flowers and blue skies and kids in meadows, is hope bottled and preserved, waiting for us when we need it. The world often requires us to put on a cheerful facade, but beneath the surface there's a lot of sadness and regret that we can't express from fear of seeming weird or a loser. One thing art can do is reassure us of the normality of pain. It can be sad with and for us. Some of the world's greatest works of art have been loved for their capacity to make the pain that's inside all of us more publicly visible and available. Like putting on a sad piece of music, somber works of art don't have to depress us. Rather, they can give us the welcome feeling that pain is part of the human condition. Art fights the false optimism of commercial society. It's there to remind us with dignity that every good life has extraordinary amounts of confusion, suffering, loneliness, and distress within it, and that therefore we should never aggravate sadness by feeling we must be freakish simply for experiencing it quite a lot. All of us are a little unbalanced in some way. We're too intellectual or too emotional, too masculine or too feminine, too calm or too excitable. The art we love is frequently something we're drawn to because it compensates us for what we lack. It counterbalances us. When we're moved by a work of art, it may be because it contains concentrated doses of qualities we need more of in our lives. Perhaps it's full of the serenity we admire but don't have enough of. Perhaps it's got the tenderness we long for, but that our jobs and relationships are currently lacking. Or perhaps it's suffused with a pain and drama we've had to stifle but want to get in touch with. Sometimes a whole society falls in love with a certain style in art because it's trying to rebalance itself, like France in the late 18th century that wanted David as a corrective to its decadence, or Britain in the 19th century that looked to the pre-Raphaelites to counter the effects of brutal industrialization. The art a country or a person calls beautiful gives you vital clues as to what's missing in them. It's in the power of art to help us be more rounded, more balanced, and more sane. The media is constantly giving us hints about what's glamorous and important. Art also tells us about what's glamorous and important, but fortunately, given that you weren't invited again to the Oscars this year, it usually picks on some very different things. Albrecht Dürer makes grass look glamorous. John Constable draws our attention to the skies. Van Gogh reminds us that oranges are worth paying attention to. Marcel Duchamp challenges us to look again at the seemingly mundane. These artists aren't falsely glamorizing things that are better ignored. They're justly teasing out a value that's been neglected by a world with a deeply distorted and unfair sense of what truly matters. Art returns glamour to its rightful place, highlighting what's genuinely worth appreciating. Nothing seems further from good art than propaganda, the sort encouraging you to fight or what government to support. But one way to think about art is that it is a sort of propaganda, in the sense of a tool that motivates and energizes you for a cause, only it's propaganda on behalf of some of the most important and nicest emotions and attitudes in the world, which it uses its skills to make newly appealing and accessible. It might be propaganda about the simple life, or about the need to broaden one's horizons, or about a playful, tender approach to life. It's a force that stands up for the best sides of human nature and gives them a platform and an authority in a noisy, distracted world. For too long, art's attracted a little too much reverence and mystique for its own good. In its presence, we're like someone meeting a very famous person. We get stiff and lose our spontaneity. We should relax around it as we already do with music and learn to use it for what it's really meant for, as a constant source of support and encouragement for our better selves.
It's the most idiotic thing I've ever heard.
Art has a very high status in modern societies. People flock to museums, and artworks fetch record prices. But our age is also oddly reluctant to say in clear terms what art might actually be for. An odd mystique surrounds it, epitomized by the puzzlement many of us feel as we look at yet another odd-looking modern work of art in a contemporary museum. We're often left quietly and politely wondering, what is it all meant to be about? For most of history, this kind of question didn't arise because it was abundantly clear what art was for. The question mark over the purpose of art is really a modern one. So let's go back in time and find out about a wider range of options that we might be able to draw on fruitfully today. Rome 290 AD. Deep below the imperial Roman city, the faithful secretly gather in catacombs or burial chambers to celebrate a new religious figure, Jesus Christ. Christianity, though still in its infancy and ruthlessly persecuted by the Roman authorities, is rapidly gaining ground. Like so many religions before it and since, Christianity has become involved with the making of art. Here, an unnamed and not especially talented artist represents Jesus' healing of a bleeding woman, an incident recorded in the New Testament. Like all religions, Christianity is using art for a clear and understandable purpose, to make its message more resonant, emotionally attractive, and popularly appealing. Art is like a kind of advertising for its ideas. Soon, Christian artists are going to dominate Europe. For almost 1,000 years, almost all art produced in Europe will simply be Christian art. From humble beginnings in a subterranean prayer room, Christian art will go on to produce extraordinary cathedrals, cathedrals, paintings, sculptures, and celebrating and enhancing the prestige of its messages. Thailand, 15th century. An unknown craftsman finishes a statue of the Buddha, one of many hundreds of thousands of such statues produced over the centuries in Southeast Asia. The purpose of such art is extremely clear. You're meant to look at the Buddha and take inspiration, becoming a little more as he is. Sculpture is an invitation to calm and contemplation. In the East, as in the West, art's function is evident, to support the truths set down by religions, to make ideas more easily digestible. Paris, January 1801. The French artist Jacques-Louis David finishes Napoleon crossing the Alps. It commemorates a moment when, a couple of years before, Napoleon, still in his 20s, launched a lightning raid on the North Italian states, winning a series of astonishing victories. In the picture, Napoleon masters a white warhorse, though he actually crossed the mountains on a more serviceable mule. Here, art is doing something it has done throughout history as well, acting as propaganda for a political cause. Napoleon is looking back to the example of Louis XIV of France, who did a lot of propagandizing with art. It was a habit he got into throughout his rule. Paris, 1833. The poet, novelist and critic Théophile Gautier publishes an essay about art, which argues that art must free itself from the poisonous agendas of religions and governments. The point of good art is always to be just for its own sake. As he put it in French, l'art pour l'art, art for art's sake. This doctrine of art for art's sake becomes the motto of the new generation of romantic artists, who set themselves against the old ideal that art should serve religion or powerful rulers or nations. Nonsense, says Gautier. True art must serve nothing at all. It is an end in itself and doesn't try to change or do or speak about anything. Artists set themselves apart from the bourgeois commercial society growing up all around, which is always trying to sell people things. Art should try to inhabit a loftier, more abstract realm. New York, 1917. The artist Marcel Duchamp prepares to exhibit his latest work at a show by the Society of Independent Artists. It is, surprisingly, a urinal, titled simply Fountain. Duchamp is in rebellion against many notions of what art is, that it should be easy to understand, that it should make sense, that it should promote something. The true artist, argues Duchamp, must defend himself against any confusion, advertising, mass media, government propaganda, or religious indoctrination. The true purpose of the artist is to stand outside the mainstream and create works that are enigmatic, mysteriously provocative, and rather silent. New York, 1949. A Russian emigre artist, Marcus Rothkovich, who has renamed himself Mark Rothko to escape anti-Semitism, exhibits a new range of works at the Betty Parsons Gallery in Manhattan. They are a revelation, in that they seem not to be about anything. They are about pure colour fields and are as abstract as music. For some, they are the greatest works of the 20th century and soon fetch enormous prices. The Museum of Modern Art acquires a major set of Rothkos, as do other national museums around the world. Rothko becomes representative of the more obscure direction of 20th century art, highly appealing to an elite who will often pay enormous, incomprehensible prices for works, but puzzling for the wider public. Venice, June 2005. The world's most prestigious art fair, the Venice Biennale, opens at the newly restored spaces of the Arsenale. It has been curated for the first time by two women, Maria de Corral and Rosa Martinez. 41 artists are shown from all over the world. The nearby Marco Polo airport is filled with private jets of the world's billionaires, many of whom profess to love art. Elaborate cocktail parties are held late into the night. Art has become a playground for the super rich, as well as an obligatory tourist destination for weary travellers. Art is both hugely revered and yet somehow still in question. For most of its history, art has been saddled with a mission to glorify religion or to speak well of the state. Modern art was the result of a swerve away from these agendas for extremely understandable reasons. Yet, if art is to regain its true centrality, it should overcome its hesitation about stating what it's really for and is trying to do. It is really and has always been a sophisticated tool, a tool that can help us to cope with things like loneliness, that can fill us with hope, that can help us to communicate our inner world, that questions power and aims to improve political most when we give it the highest task of all, to help us to lead better lives.
Okay,
If you like our
it's
films,
for
take a look at
today.
our shop.
We'll continue our lesson on our next video.